Rebuilding Ukraine is a massive project. Masses of people going around looting. Billions and billions and billions and billions and billions. They have killed, and the new Russia needs to be built alongside with the new Ukraine. Rebuilding Ukraine is a massive project. There are some estimates that the cost of it will be up to $350 billion. Putin's invasion to Ukraine has been devastating in quite many ways. Well, first of all, there have been a massive amount of destruction of the infrastructures and buildings in Ukraine, particularly in the east and in the south and also in some part of the north. In addition to that, of course, we have all those lost humans, which has been a part of the destruction as well. And then there is always an issue when it comes to the war: who started and with what reason. And we all know that there are no justified reasons for Russia to attack Ukraine, an independent country. After the war, there is going to be something like a war debt. Russia is forced to pay back Ukraine a lot of that devastation that they have been causing. We're talking about billions and billions and billions and billions and billions. If the war is not bankrupting Russian economy, paying that debt will do that, definitely. That is because there are some international norms here, and Russia is a part of that international community. It belongs to the United Nations, it belongs to UNESCO, it belongs to WTO, it belongs to so many of these international agreements. And there are a lot of liabilities there, responsibilities that they have to follow. Obviously, from Ukrainian side, they want to build a much better country. But how they can do that? First of all, they need the builders. Secondly, they need the finances. Thirdly, they need to have a lot of plans and ideas how this rebuilding of Ukraine will come about. Of course, there are already a lot of organizations like EU that has already made a plan for that, and there are negotiations going on, in fact, right now, how this rebuilding should take place. Even if the war has been extremely sad, this rebuilding may give a little bit back to what they have lost because of the war. Because obviously, they also have a chance. If they have the resources, they have a chance to rebuild the Ukraine in a much better shape than what it was before the war. Build the new infrastructures, new buildings, new energy systems, and so forth. So there is a chance in the midst of this destruction. Ukrainians themselves have expressed their strong sentiment that they want to have the best of the planners, best of the architects, best of the technology companies to be a part of this refurbishing, this rebuilding of Ukraine. When this war hopefully ends in the upcoming winter, which is quite visible that it is going to happen because the whole Russian army and the organization behind is almost like crumbling down. After that peace agreement that will happen, and after the Russians being out from Ukraine, there is also a phenomenon that we're going to see, which is that a lot of Russians are getting out of the country that are still there, but a lot of Ukrainians will come back to the country, and even some of those that had been away from there before the war. Because there's going to be a lot of opportunities and a lot of this sense of rebuilding the society. Since I come from Finland, I know something about that, because we have been through many wars, mostly with Russians, where we have also learned that once we start to, after the conflict, when we start to build our land, it's going to be also the boosting of the economy. So there is also the chance actually for Ukraine not only to have a new buildings or energy systems or infrastructures of all kinds, but also to have a new governance system, the new way of organizing the country. And hopefully Ukraine will make use of that, build a country, build a society that is transparent and that is reflecting the possibilities of our times to build much more intelligent infrastructures, much more intelligent way of running the country and its activities. This is still very much in the future, but discussing with people that are intimately involved with this makes me to realize that indeed there is a lot of opportunities that are opening. But of course, before that, the war itself has to be finished. Putin has to be taken off from his power and his cronies alike, and the new Russia needs to be built alongside with the new Ukraine. I'm pretty confident that both of these processes will start during this next winter. We are going to see a world supporting that rebuilding of Ukraine even more than they have been supporting Ukraine in the times of the war to defend their country. Ukraine is a country that has attracted, perhaps more than any country in any time of the history, a serious empathy, a serious efforts from people outside Ukraine to think that this is the type of the suffering that must stop. Sympathizing those hard experiences have propelled already a lot of positive action around the world. It can be a kind of an empathy injection for the whole world. And you know what the word empathy really means? Being empathetic means that we are able to step the shoes of the other person who is from other circumstances than we. And that capacity to step out from ourselves and move into the shoes of the other can trigger all kinds of positive things, because we can actually interpret the whole rise of our civilizations as a phases where empathy has been added into the soup of society, kind of a booster for positive development. Because we can see also the other side, when there is a lack of empathy. Putin and his supporters, they cannot empathize Ukrainians, even if they are losing their lives, their homesteads, their dearest one. Those guys don't care about it. They have killed this field for the empathy. They have disconnected their own source of empathy. And with that, they can do these terrible things. But they are exceptions. Most of we people can have an empathy. And if we have a good reason to show our empathy, we rather like to do that than not. So this crisis that has put the Ukraine in this terrible situation, as I said, has created this huge amount of empathy. And rebuilding the Ukraine is gonna show us how much there is additional empathy in this world. And the support concretely that will come to the Ukraine will be, I'm pretty sure, unprecedented in any terms. And that again will boost our civilization to move further away from those barbaric times when we have masses of people going around looting. That's not the type of the society that we want to be building. And whenever we see those kinds of phenomena happening, it makes us to realize how wrong it is. And this is exactly the teaching of this historical episode. Whether they want it or not, Ukrainians will be the ones flagging for this type of the empathy while they are building their country anew after the war. Subscribe to my channel, check related videos, and share this video with your friends, and see you again.